Hey guys, this is Dr. Sandy. Hope you're doing fantastic. Really excited about today's video. We're going to talk about obviously the power of fitness, working with chiropractic, how you can have a much better quality of life, how you can get more out of your workouts or whatever sport you're playing, but just being more active and how being active is critical, but having healthy neurology, proper mechanics, proper alignments, when these two things work together, how it can really be life-changing. And again, you can have the best life possible. As always, my name is Dr. Sandy. If you're watching for the first time, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, joining our community. And if you've been watching for some time and you keep watching these videos, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. And I hope, whether it's the first time or you've watched all my videos or some of my videos, I just hope that my intention is you walk away even with one idea, one concept, something new, maybe something you've heard before, but you're like, yeah, I needed to hear that again. Whatever it is, it's something that gave you value, something that made you say, you know what, after listening to this, I think I'll be better for it. That is my intention with all these videos. So let's just jump into it. So I think we can all agree that there's basic fundamentals. We need to eat good food, we need to get enough rest, and we need to exercise. I think across the board, and there's, millions probably of books on these different topics, but I think collectively we can agree, yes, these are absolutely critical. And while we need to move, we need to eat, we need to rest, I think these things are critical. I think there's other things as well that can really take it to the next level, because really as a chiropractor, I would say my job is always looking at optimization. How do we make things better? How do we enhance it? Now, the people who come to a chiropractic office are also looking for that, and it's going to be expressed differently. Some people, I've realized after all these years, they're going through something really intense, a lot of intense pain, headaches, migraines, maybe there's a low back issue, sciatica, whatever it is. And once that's gone, they're good, and that's all they're looking for. And that's great. That's their body, if that's their intention, that's their goal, and we've helped them with that, that's fantastic. We also have patients who may start with a certain issue, but then they're like, you know what? I don't want to go back to where I was. I am looking for a natural way to maintain my health, to stay stronger. And then what happens is chiropractic becomes more like a lifestyle for them, not just pain management. And then these people are also starting to ask the question that I don't want to be just focused on pain management. I'm also looking at optimal performance. I just want to be the best version of myself on a regular basis. And to me, that's a model that really excites me. I think going through life, there's a lot of people who are just managing, whether it's pain in a particular part of the body, their shoulders are hurting, their back, and they're like, I'm good enough. Maybe they're tired, maybe digestively, they're just not operating the way they could. They're not at that full level or as close as possible as they could be. And they're kind of just like, well, that's just the way it is. I don't have time. I think I can do okay. But here's what I want to stop and stress to you before we really get into the main focus of this video is that what you want? And are you sure that this is the best way? Meaning that if you are having pain, and I can tell you this as well, obviously I've had pain before and things like that, but it is hard to give 100% focus when you're not feeling your best. It is hard to be patient with your family and friends when you don't feel your best. It's honestly, on so many levels, it's hard to be creative, get things done. We live a life that requires power. We need a life that requires energy and movement. And then you have to decide that, I'm at 50%. Someone might say that and say, okay, that's good enough for me. And I mean, that's your choice. But what I really hope is, as always, to inspire you and to say there is a better way. There's a natural way to get more out of life. And even if someone lives for 100 years or 150 years, whatever that number is, I think the objective is it's about longevity. Of course, we want to live long, but we should be really obsessed about the quality. It's all about saying, do I feel good? Am I thinking good? Am I moving well? Optimization. That's the name of the game. That's what really excites me and gives me so much passion to help our patients with. So when we look at that, so chiropractically, if we look at the spinal system, and I have this model here again, what we're looking at really fundamentally in chiropractic that makes us distinct as a profession, our focus, our education has been always focusing on this spine. And when we think of the spine, what is it? This is the gateway. It's like a bridge between the brain and the rest of the body. And as I share this with you, I want to make this very clear. You are talking about neurology. You're talking about brain affecting bodily function, not only muscular wise, movement wise, but even on an organ level. There's nerves going to the muscles, there's nerves going to the organs, and all of this is being beautifully coordinated by our master computer, the most powerful computer in the world, which is the brain. And the brain is just trying to send messages constantly in a uninterrupted, not blocked kind of messages. It wants to freely send messages to the body. If the brain is communicating through your spine, through the nerve system, freely, properly, efficiently, you will express a very high level of health. You will have energy. You will move better. You will sleep better. You will focus better. But if these areas are shifted and blocked and compromised and compressed and stretched, and if there's any type of tension or torque or rotation on these areas, it will cause a breakdown over time. And it's just a matter of time. You can't have a system like this that's locked in a certain position, affecting neurology, affecting that nerve system, and expect to have optimal health. So maybe in the top area, it's going to be things like, the focus, the headaches, maybe even affecting the shoulder performance. As it goes a bit lower in the mid-back, then you can have tension in those areas. And that's when we think of chiropractic in the spine. We're like, okay, so we're dealing with these areas, which is part of the story, which is true, but it's also the function in the front, So for example, if someone has constant stress between the shoulder blades, that can possibly affect compromise of the lungs, the heart. It's just not going to be as efficient. When we go to the lower back, yes, you could literally have a problem here of dysfunction or compression or any type of pressure on those nerves. It affects function. The brain is having trouble communicating, and that part of the body can't communicate to the brain. So you might have, yes, low back pain. It could be the sciatica. It could be elimination issues, bladder issues. This is all neurologically based. That's why they'll say that if someone has severe spinal issues in the base of their spine, one of the biggest concerns in an emergency situation is if the bladder is no longer function. So that means those nerves that are sending the signal, they're not even communicating properly, and the person can't control it. So that tells you how powerful neurology is. So this is something that we have to take care of. So chiropractor, as a chiropractor and as a profession, what we focus on is neurology, balancing it, making sure there's no pressure on the nerves for optimal health, for optimal function. And the other beautiful thing I love about chiropractic, as we focus on neurology, what also starts happening is when we have a body that's balanced, it's just going to perform better. Like if you think of a sports car, like a Ferrari, a Porsche, a Lamborghini, these top, racing cars, when you look at these cars, what makes them also powerful, you can build those cars and you can design them and engineer them, but they have to be running properly. There has to be proper alignment. Things have to work in a certain order. The systems have to work properly for optimal function. You could have a high performance car like a Ferrari, but if the tire is off, if something is not sitting right, if something's imbalanced in that system, even though it's a great car, we won't get the most out of it. And I look at the human body the same way. So let's say that, again, there's that human spine, but let's say one of the part of the lower spine over here, like the hips, let's say there's a rotation or one is elevated. Let's say one of the shoulders are not balanced where it should be. Or let's say, someone has a posture which is just kind of going to the side and they don't feel straight. Now, can they manage? Yes. But always in chiropractic, we're saying, what can we do to optimize neurology? What can we do for balance? How, so we do a test in our office where we actually look at bilateral weight scales. We look at people when they stand, we put them on a scale. And as you can imagine, if the body is healthy and efficient, you should be very close to a similar weight. So if someone weighs, for example, 180 pounds, we would expect 90 and 90, or maybe a few pounds like 91, 89, whatever it is, but it should be very, very close. We've had patients where it's off by 5 pounds, 10 pounds, maybe even more than that, 15 pounds, whatever that number is, that number can get quite large. And the larger that deviation, now imagine this person is saying that, well, I go to the gym, I go for jogs, I go for walks, but there's that much discrepancy. Their neurology is so off. The brain and body are just in miscommunication. That is not a proper way to interact with our environment. We need to have a balanced body to be efficient. And even putting neurology aside for a moment, if the system is that off, imagine the wear and tear just on a bone level with the knees. If one side is taking, let's say, just for a simple example, 10 pounds more load than the other side, what is that going to do to the knee, the ankle, just the wear and tear on the hip? And how you are not processing things correctly. You're not adapting to the environment. The body is not working the way it should efficiently. And it's all about maximum efficiency. If you have maximum efficiency, your body will work better. You will feel better. And let me ask you another question. Let's talk about energy. A lot of people feel tired. And I appreciate, they start eating good and they're trying to rest, which are critical things you need to do. But if you have a body that is not moving efficiently, it's stuck. Your shoulders don't move right. The hips are not moving right. You are feeling sore after 10, 15 minutes. Imagine how much that's draining your energy because the body is not efficient. If the body has efficiency, you have energy. But if it's just taking so much work to go for a walk because you're in pain or there's stiffness or there's lack of efficiency, you will feel tired. You are robbing the body of energy. And you could have the best diet and you're getting enough sleep and stress is not really there. But if the body is not working efficiently, the neurology, the mechanics are not working efficiently, it will be very hard to be healthy. So let's go into kind of some specifics. So things you should be aware of where the spine should be assessed. I'll give you some examples. So let's say someone goes to the gym and they do certain workouts, and let's say they do elliptical machine, for example, or they're doing a stationary bike or some kind of cardio type exercise. And every time they finish that exercise, there's a little bit of back pain. There might be pain on the left hip or the right hip or something like that. And, they're good. They kind of shake it off. But every time they work out, they feel that. Well, obviously, you want to look at your workout as well. But your body is telling you something. Symptoms are your body saying, I need help in that department. And what do we know the golden rule is in healthcare? Problems usually 90% of the time they start small. Most people are like, it'll probably go away. I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. We ignore those early symptoms and it just gets worse. And then natural things are just not effective. Stretching, chiropractic, even things maybe like physio or something, they're not going to work because now the person's neglected the body. There's permanent damage. And now it is going to be possibly like a surgery, injection, or medication, which I've said many times, I respect. I think it should be a last resort. I don't think it should be a first resort. I think if we look at the healthcare spectrum, we should always start conservative, gentle, natural, things with the least amount of side effects. And then for whatever reason, if that doesn't work, then yes, we can look at other options, but we should always start gentle, natural, conservative, minimal side effects, the safest type of healthcare possible. And then we can look at other steps if need be. Maybe someone who has a passion for running or jogging, and then every time they run, they can run, but when they're finished, they feel the back pain, not only for a few hours, maybe for the next few days. That should be taken care of. Well, I'm managing, I do a few stretches in heat, but especially if some type of pain keeps showing up in the same zone of the body, that is something that needs to be addressed. Of course, we're all going to have aches and pains and they kind of dissipate. And I think in our hearts, in our gut intuition, we kind of know that when you have a good workout, you're kind of sore and you're like, that felt good. I feel refreshed. And that's something I try to teach my patients, that if you do a good workout, you should be refreshed. You're almost looking forward to the next one. I think sometimes there's this glamour about like I can't move for 3 days and I'm just wiped out, and like it shouldn't get to that point. It should be refreshing. It should be a good workout. I'm not saying just go for a walk and feel nothing. You get a sweat, you feel good, but it should be refreshing. You should feel forward to the next workout. And then there's that difference between I'm kind of sore, but I know it's a good workout, versus like I worked out, it wasn't too bad. And man, every time I work out, it's just this elbow, this shoulder. Your body needs help. So, call a professional, at least get it assessed. We'd be honored to help you. And if you want to text or call us at 905-896-3393, that's 905-896-3393. And can I be honest with you, even if you decide for whatever reason, I'm not sure if I want to work with Dr. Sandy, contact a professional, contact someone, just be proactive, whoever you think is a good fit, but get on top of your health. And especially as you get older, you need to dedicate time to it. Give more energy to it, and then you can enjoy yourself instead of saying, well, never really took care of myself. I'm just getting old. No, you never put the energy into it. You didn't put the work in. Why would you get that result? And I want you to have a good quality of life. That's what it's all about. So going back to my example, let's say someone does, for just this conversation. They do have back issues. We have misalignments. We have discs, vertebrae, spinal bones pushing on the nerves. They are having that back pain. And this person says, I need to sleep more. Absolutely. I advocate that. And that is also good for neurology. And just the body goes into this massive healing process. So of course they should sleep. Of course they should eat good food. I always advocate staying away from caffeine, staying away from alcohol. These are stressors on the system and they do affect the nerve system. And just my personal journey, I have been doing everything in my power. I really wasn't a big kind of alcohol person anyhow. Is kind of on the way out. And then caffeine, I've kind of been avoiding, and I noticed I felt better. So since 2024 has started, I really have not had alcohol. As far as I know, I don't think I've had caffeine. I think by accident once I did have one drink by accident. I didn't realize that had some caffeine, but minus that. And as I filmed this video, we're in April of 2024. I'm feeling better. So no alcohol, no caffeine. I'm enjoying it. I want you to, it's just amazing. So of course, we want to sleep. We want to have good nutrition, eat those good foods, minimize alcohol, minimize caffeine. And if you can avoid these things, even better. We should be stretching. But imagine someone who's resting, they're eating well, someone with the best nutrition in the world. I appreciate that. Please eat well. Of course you should, and study that subject. But that's not enough to get a vertebrae bracket in place. That's not enough to align the system. It's good. It definitely helps, but it's not going to align it. And even if they do stretching, which is so critical, and I made videos on this and I tell my patients as well, stretching is good, but there's just certain segments that you need that specific force to go in to get that vertebrae moving properly. And not so much, while that's good for biomechanics, we're always going after neurology. If that bone is moving properly again, and there's no pressure on those nerves, the body just works at a better level. There's better function, which means the body can repair itself. It can go into a healing mode. It can optimize. We want to make sure that the spine is moving correctly so you have healthy nerves and a healthy neurology for better function. So I guess what I'll kind of wrap up with as well is that for me, even personally, when we even look at fitness, even if you're doing everything right, I don't know, I've personally found that sometimes you do push a little hard and you do feel something. It might be a weight, or maybe you ran a little harder, or maybe you were doing, skipping rope after a long time. And even if you do something correctly, you feel things. That's why I've been so grateful. And I have been very consistent. I've been going as much as I can weekly to my chiropractor. And I'll tell you another story. So I had some issues last year. I got better. And it's so funny. I've been practicing for so many years, and I'm just seeing in my own body how good I'm feeling with regular chiropractic. So I go once a week. I had done some workouts. It put some extra stress in the neck area. It was very uncomfortable. I was even some nights I couldn't sleep properly. I wasn't feeling right. And guess what? A couple of times I had to get that extra visit, get on track. I'm feeling much better. I'm grateful. So I'm going to get back into exercising. Literally what I've been doing, because I kept doing weights and it aggravated, I had to take a break from the weights, just kind of even literally walking in my basement, doing some kind of movement, and then I'm going to slowly get back into it. But do you know how grateful I am to sleep again? And not, it was so sensitive. I was lying on the pillow and I was getting aggravated. And to be truthful, if I'm talking to you about this, I think as human beings, I don't know about you, sometimes our imagination and I started thinking, oh my God, like what else is going on and everything. And then I'm seeing my chiropractor, and then even part of you is kind of like, is this going to be enough and everything? And then I'm so grateful to say, with time and repetition, I was getting adjusted, just feeling good. I'm feeling back on point. I can sleep again. I can lie on a pillow. Yes. It sounds like a little detail, but just to be able to do that, I feel so grateful. So I've seen that. And guess what? So I'm going weekly just to maintain and to optimize. But sometimes, even Dr. Sandy, things happen. And I need those extra visits to get back on track, but I'm feeling much better. So I want the best for you. I'd love to work with you again. I'm at 905-896-3393. We do a full analysis when we meet someone for the first time as a new patient. We use computers. We measure blood pressure, the bilateral weight scale. We take a full history. I'd love to work with you to see if we can help. 905-896-3393. And honestly, I'm making this video. And if you're watching, and even if you're like, for whatever reason, you're like, I'm not sure about, working with Dr. Sandy, maybe it's a distance thing or whatever, whatever kind of feels right for you, find someone you believe in, find someone you trust, find someone who you think will help you get to that next level. But invest in your health, especially as you get older. I know everyone's busy, but it's an investment in yourself. And I think investing in your house, investing in RSPs and all these cool tools and everything, very valuable. But the best investment will always be investing in you, in your health and well-being, because when you're powerful, your life will be powerful. But if you're like a light bulb and you're dim and you're not glowing, you're not going to get the most out of life. So why not invest in yourself, give that time and energy in that direction, start feeling better, functioning better, and life can only improve from there. So I really hope this video inspires you. Take care of the body, get adjusted. We want the best for you as always, and God bless you. Dr. Sandy signing off.